everybody, welcome to my channel. I'm so happy you could join me here today. So today's video is a recommendations video for those of you out there who are new to Cozy Mysteries and you're wondering what to start off with, and also if you're wondering what is a cozy mystery. With all that said, let's get started. So what is a cozy mystery? A cozy mystery is a subgenre of the mystery novel. And it's usually set in a small town. You can find some cozies that are set in larger cities like London, England, or New York City, but usually they're set in smaller towns. And the sleuth is an amateur sleuth. They are not usually, they're not always in law enforcement. I mean, there's some that you can find where the sleuth is a police officer, but mostly they are, they're in professions such as gardeners, bakers, librarians, and things like that. And there's so many different, there's no graphic violence or sex scenes or any swearing. If there's any violence or anything like that, it's off page. And when the victim is murdered, you don't have a graphic description of the murder. The next, usually when it happens, it's like the next page, the victim has died. So there's so many themed cozies, and if you're interested in a certain, anything that you might be interested in, there is a cozy out there for that. And you can also even find cozies that are set in historical time periods. So you can find them set in Victorian England, the 1920s, ancient Rome, any kind of time period like that. If you're interested in history, then you'll enjoy those historical cozy mysteries. So what series would I recommend for you just starting off? There are 5 that I want to recommend to you, and of these 5, I'm caught up in one of them, but I'm still working through the series. So if you're going to be starting off with mysteries in general, I would recommend that you start off with Agatha Christie. She is the queen of mystery, and she has earned that title. She's written so many standalone novels, short story collections, and also the 3 series that I'm going to recommend to you now that are very famous. The first is Hercule Poirot, and there are 43 books in that series. Miss Marple, where she has 17 books in that series, and the Tommy and Tuppence series, she has 5 books in that series. I'm still reading the books in publication order, but I am enjoying the books so far. I really like her writing style. The first series that I'm going to recommend to you is the Bake Shop Mystery Series by Ellie Alexander. And I'm going to put the first book up on the screen here, and she has 15 books in this series, and the latest one, Do Not Disturb, is going to be released later this year. And it features Juliet Capshaw, and she worked as a chef on a cruise ship. And when she finds out her husband's been keeping a secret from her, she leaves her job and goes back to Ashland, Oregon, her hometown, to help out in her family bakery. And the series follows her and her interactions with the staff at the bake shop and with Lance, who's an artistic director at the Shakespearean Festival in Ashland. And so I really like this series, and I would recommend, if you're just starting off, then this is one of the series that I would recommend that you try. The next series that I would suggest you try is the Mrs. Jeffries Mystery Series by Emily Brightwell, and there are 40 books in this series. And this one features Mrs. Jeffries, and she's a housekeeper for Inspector Witherspoon, and he's a police inspector. And this is set in Victorian England. And so, unbeknownst to Inspector Witherspoon, his housekeeper is helping to investigate these mysterious deaths that the inspector is looking into. And she's also investigating along with his household staff. So they help out the inspector with his investigations, and the series follows the interactions between Mrs. Jeffries and Inspector Witherspoon and the entire household staff. And there's a lot of character development in this series, and the plots are really well written. And so it's a long-running series, but I would recommend, if you like anything related to Victorian England, and that's how everything the dynamics, how people lived in that time period, then I would suggest that you try out this series. So the next series that I would suggest you try is the Glasslight mystery series by Victoria Thompson. And this one has 25 books in the series, and the latest series, Murder on Madison Square, was going to be released later this year, and this series I am caught up on. And so when the newest book comes out, I will definitely be reading this one. And so this features Sarah Brandt. She's a widow, and she works as a midwife in 1920s New York, and it follows her investigations with Frank Malloy, who's an Irish cop. And again, this series is very well written as well, and the character development is really very good as well. So I would definitely recommend this series for you to try out. So the next series that I would recommend to you is the Amish Candy Shop series by Amanda Flower, and there are 7 books in this series. And I've only read one book, the first book in the series, but everybody raves about it on the Killing Time with Cozy's Discord group. So I did enjoy the first book, so I definitely would recommend this series for you to try out. And so it features Bailey King. She's a chocolatier in New York City, and she goes back home to help out her grandparents run their candy shop, and her grandparents are Amish. So you get a bit of you get to see what the life is like in the Amish, how they live their life. And there's also a really adorable pig named Jethro. And so if you're starting off with cozy mysteries, I would recommend that you give this series a try. And last but not least is the Poppy McCallister series by Libby Klein, and there are 7 books in this series. And the latest book, Antique Auctions Are Murder, is out now. And this features Poppy McCallister, and she runs a gluten-free bakery in Cape May, New Jersey. And it features there's so many fun characters, like her Aunt Ginny, who's a total riot, and Poppy is trying to keep her controlled, and just Aunt Ginny has her own, just eccentric and off the wall, and it's just too funny. And Poppy has a cat named Figaro who has his own bit of crazy. Now I've only read two books, the first 2 books in the series, but I really enjoyed both of them. So I would definitely recommend you try this out. It's a very funny series, so I think you would enjoy, you would have a good time reading this series. So that will do it for this video. If you like this video, please click on the like button. If you want to be notified when I post a new video, click on the notification bell. And to subscribe to my channel, click on the subscription button. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.